Welcome everyone. Hopefully you're seeing my correct screen. I am so excited to be kicking off Civic Learning Week. We want to warmly welcome you to this Civic Learning Week Resource Slam. I'm your host, Elmi Travaba. I'm the Director of Partnerships at KQED, which is public media in the San Francisco Bay Area. In this hour together, you'll be introduced to a wide range of civic education resources, from powerfully curated collections to really engaging media projects and all sorts of amazing resources in between. We invite you in this moment to join us if you already haven't. In the chat, please share your name, where you're from, and what grade and subject you teach. Without further ado, we have a really fabulous slate as you take a moment to share yourself. I want to share that we have the following speakers who will be sharing these resources with you. Again, I'm Elmi Travaba from KQED. And first up in our agenda, we're welcoming you where you're going to get these amazing resources, overview of several really wonderful resources that we're featuring. We'll have a little bit of time at the end to do a breakout, and then we'll come back together in the last minute or so to close out. So without further ado, I want to welcome my colleague, Sue Wilkins, who's the Director of Social Studies Curriculum and Instruction. And Sue is going to start this really powerful resource slam off. Welcome, Sue.
Great. Hi, everyone. So glad to be here with you. My name is Sue, and I'm from GBH, Boston's public media station, and I'm here to share our new civics collection tonight. At GBH, we support civics education with engaging and interactive media that sparks student interest and makes connections to their lives. Next slide, please. So the civics collection is available for free on PBS LearningMedia.org. This collection of nearly 200 digital media resources is designed for teachers and students in grades 6 to 12. Each resource is standards aligned and created with media, whether that's a video, an interactive lesson, or an interactive image or timeline. These resources are designed to be supplemental and for a variety of courses where civics is taught. Next slide. This is an image of the Civics Collection homepage, and here you see the 6 major topics by which the collection resources are organized. You can browse by topic or use the search bar and insert a keyword to find a resource that you're looking for. Next slide. We also organize the resources by these 6 civic skills, and this is just another way that you can browse the collection resources. So if, for example, you wish to focus on teaching your students more about engaging in civil discourse, which seems like something we all could work on, if you click that button, you'll pull up all the resources aligned to that skill that are in our collection. Next slide, please. So one of the overarching learning goals for the civics collection is foundational civics knowledge. So whether that's key terms, documents, institutions, processes, all of that is really key before students can go on and do any sort of higher order thinking and analysis. Many of these foundational civics knowledge resources are located under the first topic, Foundations of American Constitutional Democracy. As part of this first learning goal, we created a series of interactive lessons to guide students through the founding documents. You can see the documents and resource titles here. Next slide, please. So let's take a look at Explore the Bill of Rights interactive lesson. And for those of you who don't know, an interactive lesson is a self-paced lesson that students complete by working through a sequence of online pages that contain media, text, and activities. This is kind of like a little hodgepodge I've pulled together here, but every interactive lesson is constructed to support students to learn the content and answer the essential question, which appears on the first and last pages. And the drop-down menu on the right-hand side simply provides a quick overview of the lesson's structure. Next slide, please. So let me point out some important features in this interactive lesson. On every page, students first see the original text of the amendment. Below that, we restate the text in easier to understand language. Next to that, we provide the historical context to help explain why the framers prioritized this right or these rights. And in this interactive lesson, there's a short 3 to 6 minute video on almost every page. And then there are questions for students to answer to check for understanding. And they can type their answers directly into the interactive lesson and save them, or you could have them answer on paper if you prefer. Next slide. These are some other resources to teach foundational content. First, a series of videos help students understand core principles that are integral to our constitutional democracy. And also, there's a series of interactive lessons to help students understand how the Declaration of Independence has had an enduring influence in U.S. history and around the world. Next slide, please. The second broad learning goal in the civics collection is to help students apply their foundational knowledge to the real world in the past and the present. So this is an example of a video resource that does that. The focus is on school integration in Little Rock, Arkansas, but here students are applying what they know about federalism to the events in 1957. What did the local, state, and federal governments do? And was that constitutionally appropriate? If you notice the essential question here that comes from this teaching tips, you'll see it has a civics lens, not a history lens. Next slide, please. This resource comes with what we call an independent student activity. And many of the resources in the civics collection actually have these. These are student-facing activities organized in a step-by-step fashion and focused on one of the 6 civic skills. Here in this one, students learn more about the different types of federal powers, the hierarchy of laws, and the supremacy clause. Then they watch the video on Little Rock and answer a few questions. And finally, in step 3, they respond to the prompt. Was the Constitution and the hierarchy of laws properly applied? What we're trying to get at here is take that theory and now apply it to a real world event. And sometimes it's a lot muddier, but students hopefully will be able to see the connections there. All right, next slide. The third and final broad learning goal for the civics collection is civic engagement for students today. And what does that look like for students not old enough to vote? These are 2 series of original videos we've created to inspire and teach civic engagement today. So Game Changers is a series of videos which profile Americans, young and old, who have quite literally changed the game through their civic engagement. Students are tasked with identifying the constitutional or civic right reflected in the story. One young woman, for example, has worked to lower her state's voting age in primary elections. And this young man has worked on a petition drive to help get paid sick leave benefits and a higher minimum wage on the ballot. You Stand Up is a civic action project curriculum for middle school students, and a core component of You Stand Up is a library of 15 videos of young civic leaders who detail their community action project, how they got started, and what they ultimately achieved. These are designed to be inspirational, to illustrate the range of civic actions young people can take, and to provide a bit of a roadmap for civic engagement. Next slide, please. We always include teachers and students in our resource development, and teacher Alicia Butler says that the civics collection resources help her students better understand how the system works, which in turn has opened their eyes to different ways of making their voices heard. And a youth advisor who worked with us on You Stand Up says he learned that civics goes way beyond just voting. It's volunteering, community services, everything that we as citizens can do to better our lives and the lives of those in our community. Next slide, please. So I hope you'll explore the civics collection and the resources there. And if you have more questions or you want to just learn more about the collection, you can join me in the breakout session later. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sue. We encourage you, if you're interested in diving in a little bit further, asking Sue any questions, to join Sue in the breakout room that will be featuring the civics collection. So now, again, thank you to those of you who have just joined us. We're going to serve up several more resources during this time together. So next up from Facing History and Ourselves, the Director of Civic Education, Erica Hodgen, who is sharing Fostering Civil Discourse, Difficult Classroom Conversations in a Diverse Democracy. It is a really powerful toolkit for educators. Welcome, Erica.
Eric, it looks like Erica's unable to unmute.
I'm going to unmute Erica.
Yay! Can everyone hear me?
Yay.
Oh, good. Okay.
Awesome, Erica, and it's in
No,
alphabetical
no
order.
worries.
So,
No worries. Can you hear me now?
yes, wonderful.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We're so excited to see so many people here across, I think I saw in the chat earlier, 25 different states, maybe more. I'm really excited to share about some of our civics work out of Facing History and Ourselves. So my name is Erica Hodgen. I'm the Director of Civic Education, and my colleague Stephen Friedman is here. He is a social studies teacher and also member of our teacher advisory board. So he'll share more in our breakout session if you want to join us there. For those of you that aren't familiar with Facing History, our organization uses lessons of history to challenge teachers and students to stand up to racism, anti-Semitism, and other forms of bigotry and hate. Our resources and also our professional learning supports teachers to cultivate a strong sense of civic responsibility and engagement in your students. We are going to feature tonight one of our resources that is called the Fostering Civil Discourse Guide. And this guide is really geared towards teachers. It's focused on helping you navigate classroom conversations in a diverse democracy. It's geared towards 6th through 12th grade students, and our key learning goals for this resource are to really help educators foster productive discussions on either public policies, maybe controversial issues, current events, and we include structured strategies to navigate tough conversations and also to help civil discourse feel less overwhelming and more engaging for students. So I'll talk through a number of the different different sections and resources, and I'll give you 2 examples of things that are in this guide. You can, in the guide, and there's a QR code on this slide, but also we have all the links available for you on the landing page. But this guide is free to download from our website once you sign up for a Facing History account. And there are 4 different core sections in this guide. The first is focused on understanding yourself and your context. It's really focused on supporting educators to engage in self-reflection, to sort of think about how do you prepare yourself for difficult conversations, in addition to how might you coordinate with your colleagues, maybe with families ahead of having a conversation, your administrators, and also considering your local and state context. The second section we feel is so important, which is also to really think about how do I build a classroom community? This might be through contracting, building a classroom contract, through norm setting, but also really thinking about how do I get to know my students and prioritize relationships before I dive into difficult conversations, and establishing classroom routines that are going to support these kinds of discussions. In the third section, we include a lot of resources to help you select topics, craft discussion questions, prepare students for discussion, either through building their understanding of the topic, looking at evidence and primary sources and resources, but also giving them time to think and journal and reflect. And then we also have a lot of discussion strategies themselves, so that these discussions are not unstructured and kind of free-for-all, but more have really thoughtful routines that can help support the conversation. The third section is about planning and facilitating those discussions. And then the last piece that we are really excited about in section 4 is about those unplanned moments that we can't know are coming, but that we know come up from time to time. So perhaps it's about reacting to breaking news, or addressing misinformation or inaccurate information that may come up, or repairing your community when maybe a norm has been broken or there's a strain. So we know that these kinds of classroom conversations and discussions can be really challenging to navigate. So we know that this is, especially in this political climate, it can be difficult to navigate these conversations, but we really believe that they're incredibly important. This guide is built off of a lot of work from different scholars, but we draw on the work of this philosopher Hannah Arendt, who talks about however much we're affected by the things of the world, however deeply they may stir and stimulate us, they become human for us only when we discuss them with our fellows. So we humanize what's going on in the world and in ourselves only by speaking of it. So we really feel that this helps us to humanize ourselves and others by engaging in conversation. 2 strategies I'll share really quickly before I pass it off. One is drawing on the work of Loretta Ross, which is a strategy thinking about how do you speak up in a conversation to either share your perspectives or to ask a question about something without tearing someone down, especially if maybe you feel like someone disagrees with you or offended you in some way. So we use this strategy of calling in versus calling out. And the difference here that you'll see is calling in is really offering grace and leading with questions to seek understanding, like, can we pause for a minute? Can you clarify what you meant by that? Versus pointing out a mistake to not to address it or rectify the damage, but to publicly disagree with someone or shame, like, I need you to stop there because you're wrong, right? So we have a lot of sentence stems and questions and ways in which students can practice this. We really feel like it's important to build skills and comfort and stamina around these kinds of things. And another strategy that you can find in the guide is called the straight A's for facilitation strategy. And we have all these A's and different resources, sentence stems for students to use, abridged from Diane Goodman. And these strategies, again, help students practice ways in which to engage around these kinds of conversations, to affirm, acknowledge, ask questions, add, assess, and address, and appreciate someone so that you can dive in more deeply. In terms of, we have gotten a lot of feedback from teachers over the years and through our teacher advisory board, and we're so grateful for all that support. It really does shape our work. So you can see a quote here from a teacher, but we also do a lot of evaluation with students to get a sense of their experience. And we found one of our key findings is that 93% of students we found said that facing history's presence in their school has increased their capacity to understand and feel for people who are different from them. So last thing I'll share is that we have a number of other resources on our site through this link, through the QR code. We have some on assessing the strength of democracy, some activities around political polarization, but also join us for our summer workshop that we have in July. We have a 2-day civic education workshop, and we'll be rolling out a lot of new resources and a whole civics curriculum collection. But join us in our breakout session. We're happy to share more, and I'll stop sharing and pass it off to the next person.
Thank you so much, Erica, and sharing this really wonderful resource. I will take the screen back. And I want to warmly welcome and ask to take the mic to share about the, to share about civic digital literacy from iCivics, curriculum writer, Amika Barclay. Amika, glad to have you take the mic.
Hi guys, glad to be here. My name is Amika Barclay. I'm a curriculum writer with iCivics. Not sure if you all know this, but iCivics was founded in 2009 by Justice Sandra Day O'Connor to provide educators and students with the knowledge, skills, and resources that they needed to embrace and engage in our civic life. So we're committed to a nonpartisan civic education that is engaging, trustworthy, and useful. We're also committed to providing the highest quality resources and programs for students, educators, and parents, caregivers. Next slide. So digital literacy. We have lots of resources for teaching civics, from games to web quests to videos to even our literacy resources like our DB Quest. Tell your ELA friends about that. But today we are focusing on civic digital literacy, that curriculum. It was developed in partnership with the Digital Inquiry Group. Most of you guys probably know them as SHEG. They used to be called the Stanford History Education Group. And this curriculum consists of lesson plans, student videos, and professional development videos to support teacher needs and reinforce these essential skills. Next slide. So, why civic digital literacy? Because the internet is filled with misinformation, disinformation, and biased content. Students exist in an almost accidental filter bubble, and they're subject to believe what they see. So without critical thinking and evaluation skills, they are easily misled and very vulnerable. These resources are essential for academic research, informed decision-making, and responsible online participation. We want students to be able to navigate and participate safely in this and responsibly in this digital world. And you can access this by going to the link, well, it's a link on the screen, but it's basically just type in iCivics.org. You're going to find us. Next slide, please. I'm going to go over some of our resources. So as I've stated before, iCivics is free to use. You just go to iCivics.org and click Teach. You can find everything you need there. You'll create a free educator account, set up your classrooms in our LMSs. Your kids will only, you basically give them a class code and they're automatically enrolled into your program. But I'm going to show you really quickly the three types of resources found in our curriculum. So next slide. So first up, we have lesson plans. Lesson plans are basic to teach those and reinforce those basic literacy skills that students need. The lessons are geared towards civics, but these skills can be used to support any lesson or content area that you're teaching. This lesson featured on the screen is the one on artificially speaking AI chatbot claims. It's one of my favorites because it teaches students to evaluate the information written by an AI chatbot. Is it really that smart? Can you trust it? Next slide, please. Our next resource are student videos. We have student videos that are aligned to and supported by those lesson plans. And they are accompanied with, you can see on the second page of that, a teacher video guide that features discussion questions, student practice activities, a content and curriculum agnostic activity that you can use with any content or curriculum that you're teaching, share it with your friends. We have ways to connect to topics in the real world, ways to connect to other subject areas just by using this video. And we also have links that if a teacher is unfamiliar with a resource or unfamiliar with the content area or a topic that we're discussing, we have support for teachers built into those video guides as well. And lastly, next slide, we have our professional development videos. These short professional development videos help orient teachers on the topics of digital literacy, and they help reinforce the teacher's understanding of those specific areas of focus. They address myths from things about information consumption to providing you with the latest tools for finding that quality information online for yourselves. Next slide. So these are just some of the comments from the teacher. We have several evening opportunities for teachers that you can go to iCivics and sign up for a little session to learn more about our resources, not just our digital resources, but our civic digital literacy resources, but you can join our Ed Network or sign up to join our Ed Network and get feedback from them. We got feedback from teachers during the designing and the writing phase of this process to see how to streamline this and make these resources more effective for you guys. Next slide. And in case I didn't say it, we're free to use. We have lots of resources beyond lesson plans, many lesson plans, information literacy resources. We have our writing literacy resources, we have DB Quest. We even have learning pathways that are new to us and learning courses. So if your district or you are interested in our professional learning pathways featured in the orange bubble, please contact Maya Baker. You can find her online for more information about those. But if you're just interested in learning about iCivics in general, just go on the site and just, hey, click to sign up for our emails. You'll receive all of that information. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Amika. So civic digital literacy, you can also join Amika in the breakout towards the end of our time together. I am now going to hand the mic over to Michael from the Center for Civic Education, who's the Director of Civic Learning and Strategy Partnerships. Welcome, Michael.
Great, and you can continue to just drive right through. If you're sharing, that works for me. Hi, everyone. I'm Michael Blau. I'm as mentioned, I'm the Director for Civic Learning and Partnerships at the Center for Civic Education. We are celebrating over here our 60th year. Since 1965, we've been bringing civic education to every state and territory in the United States and in 88 countries. Our mission is to promote an enlightened and responsible citizenry that is committed to the democratic principles and actively engaged in the practice of democracy. So a lot of you might know heard of We the People, the Citizen of the Constitution before. That's our seminal textbook that we've produced since 1987. 40 million students have gone through that program. I am, most importantly about me, am an alum of our program, We the People, the Citizen of the Constitution. And that's why I'm calling in from a hotel room in California right now from a conference with a whole bunch of teachers and state coordinators on that program. You can learn a whole lot about that program by just going to civiced.org right there on the screen. We the People, the Citizen of the Constitution, and a mini plug for PBS. We had a wonderful documentary by Retro Report and PBS called Citizen Nation that followed students that went through that program. It's really powerful. It's a 4-part series, free on YouTube as well. I will not going to talk about that though today. If you could go to the next slide, Almitra. I'm also sticking with the theme that our friends at iCivics were also developing. We have I'm here to talk about paid professional development. So who doesn't love that? We have a program called Engaging All Students in Media Literacy and Public Policy that is based on a different project that we've run since 1993 called Project Citizen. And I'll share more about that in a moment. But the opportunity, if you click on that link, should take you to that page, and I'll drop in Project Citizen in the chat, or you can stay, if you go back up a few to that, if you go back up, Almitra, to that second slide. No worries. You want me to go?
1 second.
Okay, no worries.
I'm going right back.
But this project, as I mentioned, is based on Project Citizen and embedding media literacy skills into that curriculum. Here we go. Thank you. Okay. And the target audience for this is, I see a lot of folks in the chat that are 4th through 8th grade middle school teachers. This is a project-based learning curriculum that is for you. And the training is also for you. So teacher training is on how to guide students through a public policy project. Think there's a couple of other great uses out there, but think science fair for public policy civic projects though. Embedded in the training are 8 new media literacy lessons and 8 new animated videos on media literacy to help students engage and support their research. Students are doing their research online, obviously more and more these days. And so within Project Citizen, where these media literacy components are supposed to help them navigate the wilderness of our online digital environment. So the curricular integration is on Project Citizen. It's a week-long institute and a continued professional learning community, PLC, with one of our state coordinators and a few of our mentor teachers that we have across the nation. So what is Project Citizen, Almitra? If you can go to the next one. What is it? So we actually just produced a new edition of this textbook. As you see on the left-hand side here, it has media literacy components embedded into it, but it is a public policy project-based curricula. It's practical firsthand knowledge or firsthand knowledge. It's experiential learning. Students build as a class a portfolio on a topic of importance to them. If you click just one more, hopefully the animation will pop up. Yeah, there's 6 steps. So students as a class learn about issues. They select an issue in their community. Most of the time, they're really local, hyper-local even, at the school board level kind of policy. Then they gather information about that issue, learn about public policy's role, the role of the Constitution and federalism in public policies in the United States. And then they develop a research portfolio. So they do a lot of research, hence media literacy needs. They're doing their own research. You're facilitating the process and leading them into constructing that portfolio and eventually presenting it either in front of your intended audience of a school board or city council or even your teacher. Then after that, reflecting on it and think about, what are the next steps and what's the afterlife actually for this work. A lot of the afterlife for a lot of projects goes beyond us and our time with it. So how can we carry that on? So reflection is a key component of that as well. If you could click to the next one. The success of Project Citizen, like I said, we actually have a lot of really robust research. So if you do see that that website for Project Citizen, we actually have a new research project with Georgetown University that came out called the Project Citizen Research Project. It's culminated 5 years of research on this project. It's a great, Georgetown did a great study on this. But we know that this is successful because students have found it through testimony, but also through post and pre survey gains in knowledge, problem solving ability, as you can see, skills in talking and listening abilities, and then teachers also that go through this professional development program also increase their knowledge of facilitating project-based pedagogies, research, and then also participant teachers were more likely to be using active pedagogies and student-led pedagogies as a result of using Project Citizen and doing the professional learning. Next slide, please. So you can see here, obviously, here's some wonderful students that are doing Project Citizen. This is in San Joaquin County in California. But again, you can take a look at that research study. You can see a number of great anecdotes from students and teachers alike about them having authentic voice and choice in the project, and then being able to see it to fruition and learning more about their local government. Teachers also learn a lot about their local government, and that's partly what the training will help you navigate as well. Next slide, please. So we have 4 institutes. So if there's a QR code there, we'll share the links out also afterwards. But there are 4 institutes for project. It's called Project Community this summer. There's one in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. There's one in Phoenix, Arizona. There's one in Newark, New Jersey, and there's one in Annapolis, Maryland. So we'd love to get your interest in that and learn about Project Citizen, and check us out online and all of our other friends for all the great work that they're doing. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to talk to you at the end.
Thank you so much, Michael. We really appreciate you sharing out all the wonderful work you all are doing. And I now want to pass it over to Wendy Rivenberg, who's a project manager and curriculum lead out of the Education Development Center, supporting Readiness through Vital Civic Empowerment. Wendy, I warmly welcome you to the mic.
Thank you, Amitra. Thank you for joining our showcase. What a phenomenal slate of providers in this category. It sort of feels like an Academy Award. I'm just honored to be here. So supporting Readiness through Vital Civic Empowerment is a mouthful, but the acronym is SRVCE, and it's a project of Education Development Center. I'm Wendy Rivenberg, the project manager curriculum lead. And a little bit about SRVCE. It's a comprehensive civics curriculum that blends inquiry-based civic learning, media literacy education, and exploration of public service careers to prepare students to be active citizens and thrive in the workforce. The SRVCE website houses all service curricular materials and the companion teacher toolkit, all for free. They're available to view or download free of charge. To give you a taste of our curricular resources today, I'm putting the spotlight on one of our student handouts, the Civics Project Planner. It's part of the Change and Impact curriculum, which really focuses on the role young people can play in making a difference in their own communities. Students will hone civic engagement skills as they develop a plan of action for a student-led civics project or capstone on, critically, an issue they care about. There are 5 different service curriculum modules. These are 3-week units consisting of about 15 lessons, 45 minutes each. And the modules include these free resources: a full PDF of 15 lesson plans, student handouts, such as the Civics Project Planner, and student-facing slides. Each of the 5 modules is organized around a theme, such as duty and service, voice and persuasion, change and impact. Activities include community asset mapping, like oral history, persuasive writing, media analysis, message development, and different forms of civic engagement. Teachers and students piloted these modules during the 2022-23 school year, and we used their candid and hearty feedback to revise and refine the curriculum to meet the learning goals and to make it even more user-friendly. Service aligns to standards, competencies, and core principles for social studies, media literacy, social and emotional learning, and career and technical education. The career skills students develop across the modules include persuasion, feedback, and conflict resolution. The Civics Project Planner is a student handout from the Change and Impact curriculum. It scaffolds the civic inquiry and action process, supporting student-led civics projects, and it can help students who are mapping out a capstone project. Service follows a process of civic inquiry and action. Students are empowered to start with their self. What do you value in your community? What would you like to change? And they progress through these stages of civic inquiry and action. How will your plan help the community? Who is likely to make the biggest difference and should be the target audience? Prompts and supports around critical thinking, questioning, and reflecting are embedded throughout the curriculum. Like all service materials, you can access this resource for free. There's no login required. However, you can create a free account if you wish to download LMS files for your school learning management system. Service Civics resources are designed to be highly adaptable and flexible for use in various classroom settings. I want to acknowledge the incredibly rich network of partners who contributed to the development and rollout of service, including Education Development Center, Generation Citizen, National Association for Media Literacy Education, Teaching Institute for Excellence in STEM, Law and Public Safety Education Network, National Career Academy Coalition, NCSS, and StoryCorps. With these partners and our team of student and adult advisors, we've drawn on impactful strategies for civic learning and empowerment. But among our most vital partners are the teachers and students who piloted the service curriculum. You can see a couple of them here. One of our teachers, Dr. Dean, has spoken passionately about how opportunities for civic engagement affect her students. For example, her students approached the school admin about the dress code, and she said, I'm going to count it as a win for them because they were allowed to wear certain types of hoodies. It was a small change, but a big victory for them because they were able to get together on an issue that was important to them. It came with evidence and receipts. We like receipts, and they won a victory. Another one of our teachers, Thomas Fulbright, has chosen the Civics Project Planner as one of his favorite service resources for the scaffolding it provides in support of civic engagement. He shared with us that the kids got engaged and they saw purpose. They need to be learning and practicing civic engagement because those skills are not ones that are going to go away. The passion they'll pick up from this doesn't fade. We're so grateful to have been able to collaborate with these teachers, working with them to co-design and refine our civics curriculum. So please check out our website today and explore our free resources at service.edc.org. And I'd invite you to join me in the breakout room to learn more about Service Civics curriculum, share your questions and your needs, and find out what will help you inspire robust civic learning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Wendy, for sharing that really wonderful resource, the Civics Project Planner. I'm now going to turn it over to my colleague, Senior Program Manager for Humanities, Professional Learning. Again, we're from KQED, which is public media in the San Francisco Bay Area, Rachel Robertson.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel, and I'm going to tell you very quickly about KQED's Youth Media Challenge, which is a wonderful way to take everything that you've heard before from our illustrious colleagues. I agree with Wendy. I feel like this is just such a dream team, and give students opportunities to share their voice, not only maybe with their community or their school board, but more broadly through the Youth Media Challenge. So this is a youth media project aimed at middle and high school classrooms. It's about empowering student voices in the way that we've already talked about so much today, having students engage in civic discourse, make their voices heard, share what they're learning, share what they care about, share what they're passionate about, or share their stories, and then publish and share that work more broadly with peers throughout the country on KQED's Youth Media Showcase. We also have a lot of curriculum to support this work, as well as professional development, so to go all along with it. Let me show you what that looks like. A lot of you have been talking about civic action projects, which align really well to one of our 3 Youth Media Challenge projects, which is the Call for Change, where students choose an issue that matters to them and create a commentary, either an audio, video commentary, or editorial cartoon, sharing their views about that issue. Sound familiar? They can also share solutions and really connect with the people and communities that can make that change. We also have 2 other projects that might also align with what you're doing in the classroom. Show What You Know is our informational media project, where again, students can create either audio, a podcast, video, a mini documentary, or a graphics-based project, an infographic to share their learning and maybe inform their community around something. And then we do have a personal narrative project where students are invited to do an audio essay, short film, or photo essay, sharing something about their community, themselves, their identity, something that matters to them, a lesson that they've learned with a wider audience. We are so proud of our Youth Media Showcase that, as you can see, invite students from all over the country to share their work, but also, as importantly, encounter the voices of their peers in other places. I know there are people on this Zoom from states without dots yet. I would very much love to see all 50 states. We do have Hawaii and Alaska represented. We're getting our flags fixed, so they are on there. So yay Hawaii, yay Alaska. But if you are not on here, join. And if you are, join your colleagues who are sharing student voice more broadly. The Youth Media Challenge right now has over 6,000 submissions and growing literally every day. As you can see from this very small screenshot, students are sharing across a wide variety of issues, across different viewpoints and perspectives, and really jumping into making their voice heard more broadly. I'm going to show you what a submission page looks like, because I think it really connects with a lot of what we've heard today. We want the showcase to be the first stop, not the last, right? So we invite students to create their own headline. They are given a byline, their first name and last initial, so not their full name. And then their media is put in context by their own description, their own producer statement, their own citations, which are very important for supporting your argument. And then they are invited to tag themselves. This is an academic space that students take seriously. On each submission page is a unique URL that then can be shared more broadly with various communities that need and want to hear it. We also, I want to have a chance to show you what this could look like. So we're going to go to this pretty amazing history podcast that falls into the Show What You Know category, not the Call for Change category, but you'll see how the student in the little clip I'm going to play for you really creates an immersive soundscape that not only shows what she knows about this period in American history, but invites others to join her in that adventure. So let's just hear a little bit of her voice.
In June of 1879, John Humphrey Noyes fled the U.S. for Canada in the middle of the night. He left behind his home in Oneida, New York, where he had created and led a utopian community for the past 30 years. Hundreds of people followed his extreme ideas around complex marriages, communalism, and religious perfectionism, but the community crumbled after he heard he was going to be arrested. The Oneida community was only one of many attempts at a utopia in 19th century America. Today we're discussing what these utopian societies represent about American ideals in the past and present. Hi.
So that was just a quick clip from a very immersive podcast where you can see a student not only sharing a topic that she's learned about, but drawing her audience in to learn more about a period in American history. So this is just a little bit of what is available on the Youth Media Showcase. As you can see from teachers, this project-based form of learning really draws students in, and the ability to create a public product and share their voice more broadly is motivating, but also helps them engage in true civic dialogue through the showcase and civic dialogue with the members of their community who get to hear their pieces and appreciate them. We would love for you to get started. You can explore the Youth Media Challenge project. You'll find curriculum in English and Spanish for students. You'll find teacher toolkits with literally everything that you'll need. And we'd love for you to create an account and get started, although you can access all the curriculum without doing that. And then we'd love for you to join us in the breakout rooms, which are coming up like now, so that you can learn more about the Youth Media Challenge. So I am going to advance my slide, but then invite Almitra to let us know what we're doing next.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for sharing the KQED's Youth Media Challenge. I invite all of the participants to, when I open up the breakout room, which are named the resource and then the organization that created the resource. So both of those things, if you're like, the collection that GBH had was amazing, I want to join GBH, but can't remember what it was called. Or if you're thinking all of the wealth of resources that iCivics shared is great and don't remember the name, I put both things there. It's a civic digital literacy resources. Or if you want to join Wendy and dive further into the civics project planner, or jump into Project Citizen, we're going to open up these breakout rooms. So again, they're organized by the resource name and the organization. If you want to join Erica, Fostering Civil Discourse, Facing Histories, and ourselves amazing resource, we're going to open up these rooms. You'll have about 10 minutes with these amazing folks to dive in, ask questions, get, nerd out a little bit with them, and then we'll bring you all out for closing. We will be following up with an email that will have the resource, the link to all of the resources, as well as the recording. So I'm going to open up the breakout rooms, and I warmly encourage you all to join my colleagues in one of these rooms. As you're coming back from the breakout room, hopefully you were able to engage a little bit further with the resources. My apologies for those of you who weren't able to see the breakout room and had to let me manually assign you into those rooms. We encourage you to dive in further to these resources. You'll get an email from us on Wednesday morning with the recording. Cleaned up a little bit, and the presentation deck with all of the links to all of the resources that were shared this evening. You will also have in that deck all of our contact information to connect with us further. We warmly welcome you, or cold if you prefer the cold. We gently encourage you to reach out to us. We're always glad to hear from you and to support you in engaging with these resources further. Hope you have a great rest of your civic learning week, and have a great night. Thank you so much. Good night, everyone. Wonderful presenters. We appreciate you and your resources, and happy end of your Monday.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Almitra.
Bye.
Thank you, KQED.
Thank you.
You guys.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Welcome.
Good night.
Welcome.